So here's the type 7 construct. Each of the types has this weird belief inside that's hardwired into our nervous system. For the type 7, it is, if I experience pain and suffering, I'm going to die. Pretty gnarly, right? If I experience pain and suffering, I'm going to die. Hardwired into my system. So what that means is that we avoid getting into deep relationship with another. Can you feel this? If I get into deep relationship with another person, at some point, they're gonna leave. Or there's gonna be discord. Or I'm gonna say something that's gonna hurt their feelings, or they're gonna say something that's gonna hurt my feelings, and pain and suffering will commence. With me? So the resolution to that, don't commit. Right? Don't share intimate time. Don't open your heart. Don't create bonds. Just kind of skim along the top of life. I am a star. Feel my warmth, but don't connect with me. It's a great resolution to a really painful situation. Are you with me here? Yes. So, this means careers, hopscotching here and there, jobs, hopscotching here and there. Everything for about 1 year to 18 months, I can stick with it. But after about 1 year to 18 months, I'm on to the next job, on to the next career. Not a lot of payoff, feel me? Yeah. Relationships, same thing. 12 months here, 18 months with this individual, and then there's something about them that's just not quite right. You're not spiritual enough. Your head is a little too big for your shoulders. You're kind of crazy. It's time for me to move on. Became very isolating, very lonely. I looked out and there was nothing there, no one there. This was a bad time in my life. It was right after the dot-com bust, and I was doing one-on-one coaching, and I was doing a lot of seminars. And around 2008, everything dried up. Many of you remember this, right? So a lot of my coaching clients, whoosh, out the door. A lot of my contracts, out the door. So I'm couch surfing in Santa Cruz. Raise your hand if you know what I mean when I say I'm couch surfing in Santa Cruz. Yeah, many of you have been there. Couch surfing in Santa Cruz is you're just going from one friend's house to another friend's house, lying on their couches and sleeping and living on their couches. And I was at one friend's house, and he was nice enough to give me a room, and I'm sleeping on the floor. I'm 6'3". The room was about 5'11", from side to side. And I'm sleeping on the ground, crying myself to sleep at night. That alone, that broke, that in my being. So we went into a mentor-mentee relationship, and she really took me under her wing here. And that started the beginning of the total deconstruction of my ego. It was not pretty. It was a leveling, a razoring to the ground. And at one point, this whole idea of being in community and connecting with people and forming a relationship with people came up. And she said to me, "Ben, do you know what the root of community is?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I want community and I like it, so yeah, what's the root?" To commune. to be with. You have to be with the people. I was like, I want community, I don't want to be with the people. So can we rearrange this a little bit? Do something different, please. We were doing enneagram seminars here and seminars on abundance and prosperity. Deep work. A lot of people would come. Many of you have been through some of our programs. A lot of people would come, and there was deep, open, tears and heart showing, and we would drop into deep healing spaces. And I loved the work, and I loved how revealed and how open and how everybody was showing up. But the schmoozing with people beforehand and during lunch and after was just right? I just wanted to basically teach, transform, and run. That was my idea of a good day. All right, I'm in. Let's make it happen. Let's go for it. So what that meant is that I had to kind of come off of the pedestal, come off of being the teacher, and reveal myself as much as the other people who were in the room. Yes. That I had to kind of open my heart and open my being and share the vulnerable parts and the unsure parts and the parts inside of me that didn't want to be seen. You with me? Yeah. And lo and behold, after a number of years of this, you stopped being so scary. And there was oh, there's love out there. Oh, there's reflected connection. Oh, there's friendship. Oh, there's all these people that can actually support me rather than making me feel inadequate. That's cool. Who knew? Yeah, you can call for that one. Yeah, who knew that you're not as scary as you were pretending to be? You all must have gone through some really good seminars. You must have been hanging out at the light. Because you're all transforming and you're so loving and generous and alive and vibrant and connected now. The way you weren't before. And so this kind of ability and intent to connect got woven through my life. I ended up with a woman whose head and shoulders were about the right size. Who was spiritual enough, and I didn't think she was totally crazy just now and then. And we got married. Which is a big deal for Enneagram Type 7s. I just want to tell you. I get more calls from women saying, Ben, I have a Type 7 boyfriend who will not commit. What the hell do I do? I get those calls all the time. So we committed, and then it was time to have a baby, right? Her biological clock was ticking. And again, I was like, I don't think so. Marriage is one thing. A baby, that is forever, yeah? Can you feel the level of commitment goes to a whole nother? When it's a baby, it's not I'm a light. With a baby, it's again and again and again, we're here, we're connected, I'm yours, you're mine, we're together. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Raise your hand if you know it doesn't stop. Yeah, it doesn't stop. It's on, and it's on, and it's on. And my little Type 7 self said, I'm not going there. Now my wife is an Enneagram Type 8, different beast. The 8s have power. When they want, they want. Right? And she was trying to control the want and get mad at me because I didn't want her to want, and there was all this going on in our relationship. She wants a baby, I don't want a baby, and we're doing this thing. It got a little ugly. Till she went and saw a therapist, and the therapist said, go ahead, want. You have permission. Give yourself permission to want it as bad as you want it. That was freeing. Can you feel how that might be freeing for somebody to want it? And I went and I did my work around my type 7 stuff, and she shifted and I shifted, and we came back together and we're like, we can have a baby now. We can do this thing. And at the same time, I'm going through classes at Inner Light Ministries and starting to develop relationships with many of you in the room. And those relationships are starting to get deeper. And I'm finding that the people who I'm working with as a coach, as a trainer, they actually like it that I'm in relationship with them. Who knew? That your inner emotional and spiritual work could actually have a dramatic impact on your business success. You feeling me here? And so that is the kind of work that I've been doing for the past 15 years. Working with people with a lot of power and influence, often people who look a bit like me. White, male, gray hair, kind of contracted and twisted up. But willing, available, open their hearts and open to step into something new. A new way of being in relationship, a new way of being with people. The people that I'm working with often are investing upwards of $3 billion. That's with a B, $3 billion. That's a lot of influence. Can you feel that? They have a lot of impact. Where that $3 billion gets invested matters. And so a lot of them have the charter, the capacity to invest this money in things that are green, that support the environment, in organizations that support social causes, in places where other humans are uplifted, shifted, transformed through the work. And I found that as I worked with them, the capacity that they had to line up behind that mission went up. That as they cleared their own stuff, as they cleared their I'm not good enough, or their angst, or their enneagram type, stopped clouding their expression, that they kind of grew up and evolved, and instead of just me, mine, it became, what are we doing? What is the bigger game that we are playing? And where am I going to invest this $3 billion plus that makes a difference to this planet? That's leverage. Can you feel me? So, my income went up. Started making a lot more money working with these folks. My seminars went to new layers of depth and connection. And I found that there was a need, a desire inside me to build's not the right word, to forge community. It feels like forging to me. That there's a way in which, when we're in community, we push each other's buttons. And it is so easy when the right button gets pushed, when I feel judged or abandoned, or like you've betrayed me in some way, it's so easy for me to take my marbles and go home. Like, I don't want to play anymore. You hurt my feelings. You were mean. People shouldn't do that to each other. I don't want to play with you anymore. Which feels like a very natural move to me. It feels like a survival instinct that's actually really a good idea. But we end up without community. We end up isolated. We end up alone. We end up in spaces and places where other people can't show up and support us. So we started a couple of groups, and in one of the groups, we do this practice where we share ourselves deeply and richly with each other. And even when we get triggered, the commitment is, I will come back to the relationship. That even when I want to run, even when you treat me badly, even when I just want to kill you or run away, I will come back to the relationship. I will speak my truth. I will open my heart. I will reveal myself to you. I will be in connection with you. I lean into the oneness that is connecting us to each other. Yeah. Knowing that that oneness is bigger than any argument. That oneness that connects us to each other is larger than anything we can do individually. That there is something that is omnipotent, that is universal, that is binding between us, that shows up in the spiritual plane, but when we realize it on this plane between humans, magic can happen. And so there was a stand for that in my being. It was cultivated. It was forged. It wasn't something I was born with. My parents didn't model it. My dad has no idea what the hell I'm doing. He thinks I'm crazy. So it was an evolution of self. That there's something that you can step into, that you are bigger than those arguments, that you are bigger than the hurt, that you are bigger than the isolation, that the things that would keep you at bay do not have to control you, don't have to refine and define you. That you can say yes over and over, even though we know on the other side of that yes, there's probably hurt. There's probably some kind of discord at some point. There's a level in which you're going to get triggered. And so we have to say yes over and over and over. Yes, I will risk. Yes, I will reveal my heart. Yes, I will step into a new way of being. That there is something inside of me that is larger than these stories. You feel me? Yeah. I'm done with that game. The isolation, paying attention to the story game is just old. We are getting called to a new space and place and time. The message that we're giving here, look, it's going out to all these people through the internet. The weaving of relationship that holds us, that uplifts us, that supports us in shifting consciousness, is going out to a big group. It's a new world. We're getting called, pulled up to a new world.